MVC3 introduces the concept of activators. There are two types of activators: controller activators and view page activators. An activator is something you would write if you want to construct an instance of a controller or a view page on your own. Typically, you're only going to do this in a scenario where you do not have a fully featured IOC container available to you, because any good IOC container will be able to do the job of an activator for you. Let's take the example of the home controller that required an iMessenger object. I already demonstrated that the default controller factory provided by MVC3 cannot construct a controller unless it has a default parameter. I also demonstrated that Ninject could construct this controller for me once I configured Ninject to know about the iMessenger interface. However, if I didn't have Ninject available to me, I could still solve the problem by writing a controller activator and handing it out of the dependency resolver when the MVC runtime asks for an iController activator service. Inside of my activator, I would implement the create method to construct the instances of controllers that require messengers and other dependencies. That is not code that I generally want to write because IOC containers can do this for me. Again, activators are here for the scenario where you're not using a good IOC container. For those of you familiar with MVC2, you might be wondering how this relates to a controller factory, and I'll say that you can also solve the problem by writing a custom controller factory, but in MVC3 they did decide to make the instantiation process easier and separating it from the other controller factory logic by allowing you to write just an activator for this scenario to construct a controller. The default controller factory will still use its own logic to locate the type of controller to instantiate, and then it will ask for a controller activator to instantiate the controller. If an activator is not available, the default controller factory will fall back to using activator.createInstance to construct a controller, which is why our home controller no longer works with the default controller factory.